Hello and welcome to another BAC training session. This session is for under 13s plus, and today we're going to focus on some more javelin. We're going to focus on how we stand when we throw the javelin, and also start to progress how we're going to do a run-up for javelin. So the first thing as always is do your warm-up, and then we'll get cracking with the session. Okay, so the first activity we're going to do is some extra warm-up drills like we did last time. So find a football or a med ball or whatever kind of action you've got. You're going to do some overhead throws. So to start with, we're just with both our feet together, pointing forwards, the ball back behind us, and we're going to throw as far as we can. And do this 3 times with your feet together, thinking about your elbow position and what moves first when you throw. Okay, so once you've done that 3 times from standing, now think about taking 1 step into it. Think about what you're trying to do with your legs. Okay, and do that 3 times as well. So next, we're now going to do a quick recap of the arm action of when we're doing a pull throw such as javelin or howler or tennis ball throw. So today I'm lucky enough to have a howler, which is what you'd use if you're under 11. If you haven't got one of these, a tennis ball or a cricket ball or anything like that is also fine. So have a quick remember about how we're going to hold it. Remember, we're going to have 2 fingers behind the object or the ball, and then the rest of the ball resting in your palms. Remember where we're going to be facing forwards. Remember where our arm is to start with. Okay, and I'm going to do that again and just watch that elbow and have a quick recap of what moves first, what position should my elbow be in. Okay, so you should hopefully see that my elbow is high. My elbow moves first, not my hand. My hand stays away from my shoulders, and then we move it past our head and extend to release. So once you've practiced that standing throw 5 times and you're happy that you've got that correct arm action, you've got that high elbow and the hand stays away from the shoulder, we're now going to progress and see how can we actually throw a little bit further. What can we do with the other movements of our body that means we can throw even further. So the first challenge I'm going to set you is have about 3 or 4 throws, and I want you to try different ways of throwing. Now this could be running, jumping, spinning, cartwheels, handstands, whatever you want, okay? And I want you to try and find what is the easiest and what is the best throwing method to try and throw as far as possible. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple of examples of what you can try, but I want you to come up with your own and have a go on your own. The first one I'm going to do is a jumping one, I think. I think next one I might do is going to be a twisting one, I think. And I'll also try a run-up one as well. So you probably have realised that a run-up is probably the most effective way of trying to get that javelin or the ball to go a bit faster and also to fly further. Now, what's most important about when we do run-ups is that we can't run up and then jump before we throw, because that stops the momentum. So we need to have the correct final few steps after the run-up to make sure we continue momentum, we can throw as far as possible. So I'll just show you the difference of the 2 ways, and then we'll discuss some of the technique on how we step in, what we do with the different parts of our body. So here's the first one with a jump. And here's the other one without a jump, so we're maintaining momentum as we throw. Okay, hopefully you'll notice that second one is a little bit easier, and that javelin or the ball can actually be thrown faster and further. So we're now going to look at how we're going to stand when we're doing a standing throw, or the position we should be in on that final step as we throw the javelin. It's nice and simple, but we have to remember that position. So our front leg, our foot's going to be pointing forwards at 12 o'clock, as if we've got a clock. Our back leg is going to be just over shoulder width apart, and our foot's going to be pointing towards 2 o'clock. So that's the key position we need to be in. Our hips are pointing in a diagonal direction at the moment. Then what we're going to work on in a moment is how we will twist our hips and how eventually we'll throw pointing forwards, but that back foot just twisting forwards at the end. The first thing is, whilst we're still standing, we're going to work on what we do with our hip. Now our hip movement is actually the most important thing about throwing the javelin when we're doing a run-up. So I want you to watch my hip movement when I do a couple of half throws, and I want you to notice what moves first and how my hip moves. Okay, and hopefully you notice my hip is actually the first thing that moves. And my hip moves before my elbow and my arm does, okay? And that's really important. And what you should notice is that with my front foot in front of me, back foot behind me, my hip is able to twist so it points forward. So twists my hip, pulls my elbow, pulls my arm through, makes you throw a really long way. So you're gonna have 5 practices of that without throwing the javelin or the ball to start with, and then have another throw with throwing the javelin or the ball. So I'll go through and show you a couple of examples. So standing, and the hip twisting forwards, pulling the elbow forwards, okay? And now we'll do a couple where we throw. So the hip moving before the elbow, but also remember your elbow position and your high elbow and your hand away from your shoulder as always. So once you've done that 5 times without throwing and 5 times with throwing, we're then going to move on to now having 1 step into the throw. Okay, we're now going to add in 1 step before we throw. So you're going to start with both your feet together pointing at 2 o'clock on the clock face, with 12 o'clock being the direction you're going to throw in. You're then going to step your front leg forwards so it's facing at 12 o'clock, just in the position we just mentioned, as so. Okay, as you should notice, the leg I step out is a long step, and it's also a straight leg, and that's really important for transferring that momentum, getting ready to throw. Okay, so I just want you to do that a couple of times without throwing. Is just stand side on and step in to face that throw. Okay. What you can do after that is remember the hip. So once our foot hits that ground at the same moment, our hip twists forward, ready to throw. Hopefully you can now see how we've got a powerful action that's going to make us throw even further. So once you've had 5 practices of the step and the hip twist together without throwing, we're now going to do 5 more practices with a step in and a hip twist to try and see just how far we can throw. And it's already looking further just from that 1 step. So I'll just show you again. Remember, long step forward, front foot facing 12 o'clock, back foot still at 2 o'clock. As your foot hits the ground, your hips twist forward, you're facing forward, and that hip twist pulls your elbow forwards to throw. And remember the elbow high position and your hand away from your shoulder, as we mentioned before. 5 goes of that 1 step in and throw. And what you can also do is maybe set markers out each time you throw it and see if you can get further and further each time. Also get someone to watch or film yourself throwing, so you can look at that foot position, how your hip moves, and just also how your elbow and your arm moves. You can put that all together and eventually we'll have a perfect javelin technique. Now, it might take you a long time to practice all of that. It's not something we'd expect you to perfect in this 1 session. You may have to do a lot more standing practice with your throw, and you may also have to do a lot more stepping in practice without the throw before you can put it all together. But now we're going to move on to show you the next step you can have a go at, have a bit of fun at, ready to develop you as you move up into under 15s. Okay, so we're now going to try and do 3 strides, the final 3 strides into our step. So we're going to start the same again, with our 2 feet together pointing at 2 o'clock. We're now going to walk you through very slowly what you're going to do, and then we're going to slowly bring it up faster and faster until we've got a nice rhythm and a nice correct 3 strides. So the first step you're going to do is step sideways and forwards. You're then going to bring your second foot up to that front foot, and on the final step, which is something that we've already practiced, so that last foot is then stepped far forwards with the toes now pointing straight. Now we're ready to twist our hips and throw. So that's going really slowly, but we need to add that up to make it a bit faster. So we need to go, I'll show you again. And one more time. And hopefully you notice that those feet positions are correct, but also there's a nice rhythm in each step. It's bouncy, and it's a nice rhythm as it carries you forward, ready to throw. So have a couple of goes at that, have a little bit of fun, have a little bit of practice, and you can even have a couple of goes at trying to throw howler a ball as well. When we're doing that, we're going to have our arm up straight as if we're going to throw ready. Lovely, and that's the furthest one I've thrown so far, so obviously the 3 steps must be working. So that's the end of the session today, guys, so well done for having a go, and hopefully you've seen some improvement in the distances you've been able to throw. We've recapped obviously how we need to throw the javelin, and the most important thing is having that high elbow and the hand staying away from the shoulder as our elbow pulls through first. We've also discussed how we need to stand when we throw, how we need to twist our hips forward, and that's the first thing that moves, and that actually twists your whole arm forward. And then we've also started to introduce how we're going to step forwards, or even do 3 steps into the throw to maintain momentum and add some speed to the throw so we can throw nice and far and get some super distances when we're doing our throwing. So well done, guys.